tell you when we're going to be able to get in and help you out. We do have fire trucks in the area. The helicopters are in use on other rescues. The boats are all in use on other rescues.
The Austin Fire Department was responsible for a big bulk of the rescues during the city's deadly flooding event in October, especially when it came to the rescues requiring a boat.
KXAN investigator Robert Maxwell discovered some fire leaders say the city has known there's a problem with that system for years now, but not much has changed.
I want you to go find something that'll float.
Hold your hover, looking good.
This here is one of 4 rubber swiftwater rescue craft AFD used during the flood. They're quick and maneuverable, and even though these are 6 years old, crews say they handled the work they had to do admirably. But fire rescuers were presented with a unique problem, where to send these few 4 boats to where they would do the most good.
It's going to be a process. It's going to take several hours before we can start getting people out.
It was not just the number of victims waiting for help. Commanders in the field had to wait, too.
We do not have any boats that we can get down there and help people.
This was more intense than I've ever seen.
For Battalion Chief Bob Nix, a shortage of rescue boats is nothing new.
But the fire department's job is to make sure those resources are available to the citizens, when they're needed. Having boats on scene would have been a big comfort to me as an incident commander.
In 1991, Nix saw the same thing as a young firefighter who fought the Dove Spring floods. 22 years later, at Onion Creek, he was the one calling the shots in the Pinehurst area and begging for boats. Not only for the people clinging to rooftops, but fearful for his own crew's safety, suddenly cut off by the rushing water.
The troubling thing was they were cut off. And if the water was to continue to rise, like some of our intelligence was showing, it would have been pretty dire.
Austin's fire department managed 380 water rescues, but not all with boats. Instead, improvising with borrowed county trucks to get through the high water.
Look, man, the water's coming up real quick. I don't know if we need a helicopter or what.
They're almost to the skid mark.
Separately, Starflight crews were responsible for 31 rescues and got to work overnight before AFD crews showed up. Nix, who is also the Firefighters Association president, argues helicopters are valuable where the water's moving too quickly for a boat. But he says they're not efficient for rescuing large numbers of people, and the big picture operation, he says, must evolve.
There's thousands of things that went correct. What we didn't have is some of the resources those firefighters needed to do their job even better and safer, like boats, like trained operators.
Waiting for fire is probably not the most prudent thing to do. We were overwhelmed.
In Onion Creek, Robert Maxwell, KXAN Investigates.
Well, the Fire Department Association's president says he'll recommend new protocols for flood response, like calling in extra firefighters and staging specially trained teams with rescue boats, just like they do on windy red flag days for wildfire protection. Austin Fire did have some help from other agencies with boat rescues that night, like the Texas Game Wardens, seen in this swiftwater training video in August. They used their watercraft to rescue a few dozen people. You can get a closer look at this video by searching for our flood investigation on the homepage of KXAN.com.
And tonight on KXAN News at 6 o'clock, our continuing investigation, where we take a closer look at an overwhelmed 911 system here in Austin during that deadly disaster. And if you have a story tip you'd like KXAN to investigate, send us an email to investigates@KXAN.com or call our tip line. It's on your screen, 512-703-5255.